Okay, it says we're live. Are we actually live? Does anybody else see us? Hey, have Brian. If anybody's out there, anybody's watching us, we're new.
I'm trying to see if I can see it. Wouldn't it be on our thing?
It shows 0 viewers right now.
Okay.
Because if you look at our thing, it says like a little eyeball and 0. I'm afraid to bring my phone out unless it's going to give any feedback or anything.
Oh, I see it. I see we're live.
We are. We're live.
We are.
All right, and there's nobody watching right now, so that's good because we're. What? Do you guys see anybody like when it says viewers or watchers? Because on mine it just says 0.
Mine says live chat 1, but
okay, so that might be Brian.
2 likes, 1 waiting. I don't know what that is.
Sometimes, like on the YouTube side, there's like a 30-second a countdown timer once you actually go live. But it's weird because I don't see the 30-second on my side, like in StreamYard. Yeah, I just saw one person pop in there. I'm gonna make a comment, see if anybody is like in there.
There we are. All right, I see us now.
There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that meant, yeah.
Is there?
All right, so we're live.
We're live. All right. So even though I posted a comment, so at least I know that our comments are going live. But so should we start? Who wants to introduce themselves first? April. Go ahead.
I'm April. I am the creator of the Universal and Disney plus size groups. I've had the groups for like almost 4 years now. I think it's over 4 years. I'm not sure. But nice to meet you all.
Short and sweet.
I know. That's me. All right. Next.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
I'm Stephanie. I'm one of the admins for both of the groups. I'm also a travel agent with Enchanted Memories Travel, and I'm the travel agent for the groups. So I've been in the groups. I haven't been in the groups for 4 years, probably like a little over a year, maybe, I think.
Yeah, I've been in the group for a couple weeks, however long it was added me. And that's mainly because, and I'm Sundi, by the way, April's, I almost said stepsister, but no, that'd be wrong. April's sister-in-law. And I live in Oregon, so we don't have a whole lot of theme parks there. But April and I talked about this channel, I don't know, months and months ago, a long time ago. And we're like, hey, we should do this. And we're like, but we don't know how. We're like, but let's figure it out. So that's kind of what it is. So we figured it out. And since I'm not really around the theme parks, I don't have as much theme park information as April has for sure, as far as being at the parks, or as far as booking, as far as Stephanie has, or even I'm sure Stephanie's been to the parks lots of times, I imagined, because she's on the group. But so those guys will be answering most of your questions today. I'm just kind of in the background a lot, trying to get the channel going and just kind of working on the tech side of it. But that's kind of it for me. So who wants to start? Stephanie, do you want to start talking about how, like, it also, I think she said she's a travel agent. So, like, I've seen a lot, like, in the group, tons of times, people, like, from, you know, not just all over the country, but, like, from all over the world. They're like, hey, I'm coming in 4 months and this and that and that and that. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Whether it's rides or getting there or what to do once you're there or whatever. So that's what Stephanie can talk about. Like, if you've never been to the parks and how do you get to the park? How do you buy a ticket? All that. That's your girl. So go ahead.
That is what I do. I like to book trips for Disney and Universal. I also like to go there as much as I can, but I'm in Ohio, so at least once a year. I'll be there in March. So but yeah, I've been a travel agent now for a little over like almost 3 years actually, but I started obviously back when the pandemic started. So it took me a while to get my travel agency off the ground, but yeah, I book trips. I don't only just book, you know, Disney and Universal. I book all sorts of trips, but those are my 2 favorite things to book. And I can book transportation. I can book, you know, your dining. I can book anything that you're looking for that has to do with Disney or Universal.
So can I interrupt when you're saying stuff? The stuff that I would have questions for, maybe other people. So like you said, dining, and like I didn't even remember that dining was a thing. I think we went to where did we go last April when we came down there in October?
The 50s Primetime Cafe. Yeah.
No, but which park was it? I don't remember.
Oh, Hollywood Studios.
Oh,
And-
Hollywood. So, like, I didn't know that you had to book dining. Like, I thought, oh, you could just walk in and sit down. Like, no, you couldn't. You can't just walk in and sit down. You have to book, like Stephanie said, ahead of time if you actually want to sit down and eat in a restaurant. Otherwise, you're just like, you're eating popcorn or hot dog from the corner. So, anyway, so maybe could you talk about that, like, booking dining?
Yeah, you can book your dining starting at 60 days out, and you can book it for your entire length of stay if you're on property. You can book it just 60 days out of each day if you're not staying on property. So there's one perk to staying on Disney property. If you have a 10-day trip, you can start 60 days from the day you start, and you can book all of them the same day instead of waiting and waking up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can actually try to
like standby list or anything.
No, if you don't get the stuff that you want, I always tell people don't get discouraged. If you don't get the stuff that you're looking for at first, especially if it's one of the places that's like more popular, you can keep looking, especially closer to the actual day you want to go there, because people have a tendency to hoard things or even just get too many that they, want options. And then once they pick those options when they're closer to actually going, they'll drop stuff. So you can find stuff closer to the days that you're actually going to be there, because some of the places are just harder to get, and everyone wants to go to Topolino's, and everybody wants to go to Ohana. So if you can't find it at first, don't give up, because honestly, I've gotten families things that they didn't even mention until 10 days before their trip. And I still was able to actually get it for them. So even if it's storybook dining or Cinderella's castle, you can still get that stuff closer to your actual reservation.
That's good.
Yeah.
And how do they get it? Like if they didn't book you and they just got to the park, how do you book that kind of stuff?
They do have walk-up lists for most of the restaurants currently. So you can check in the My Disney Experience app and you can see if they have a walk-up list, or you can honestly just walk up to the restaurant and ask them, do you have any room for us? There's this many. They might not, but it's worth a shot if you're in the park and you're close to it and you've always wanted to eat there and you weren't able to get something. Or, I will look for people on their 60-day mark. I will try to get them everything that they want. I will look here and there, but after that, I tell them, like, if you have free time or if you're up late one night or something, just go in the app and check, and something might pop up, and you never know when someone's going to drop something. There's actually also like some different groups on Facebook that do different dining where people will like coordinate dropping something they don't want and hope that you can pick it up. Sometimes it works. A lot of times it doesn't. But you can always kind of try, do that too.
Yeah.
So April, that's how we booked when we were at whatever Hollywood, right? You did it through the app as we were like walking around, figured out what was available or whatever.
Say that one more time. I was checking the comment section.
Oh, so I mean, she was ignoring us, but okay. Anyways, I was saying that's how you booked when we were there last, right? The last park, you just booked like on whatever app, right?
Yeah, my Disney Experience. But usually, like she said, I can. One time we were coming back from Magic Kingdom, and I was checking to see if there was one for Steakhouse, and I got it like in 10 minutes, and we were over there. So sometimes, literally, I'll just like checking and checking and checking because they'll just push. Like we're going to Hollywood Studios on Sunday, and I was like, oh, sci-fi, and I got one because I 4 a.m, 5 a.m. Oh,
Yeah.
did anybody drop anything? So, but I want to shout out a couple of people that have said hi. Mary Taylor, she said she wanted to just say hi and wish us well. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
And John and Angie. John and Angie are they do the other live our life.
Love our
Blog.
life.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Because I
I
can't
saw their channel yesterday. I think I clicked through it from on your page. I think. Somewhere,
yeah, because I subscribed to it on this thing. But yeah, hi guys. So
Hi.
all right, that's all. Back to you guys now.
So back to the dining, and then we'll go back to Stephanie for more questions. But let's say, is there one app that you can book Universal, Disney, any? So
Me and April are both. Yep. No.
That's how much I know about the parks. That's why I said
There's a Universal app. There's a Universal app that's its own app. And the Universal only really has 2 sit down They don't really have much sit down
No,
dining
they have sounds, but it's not.
not in the park. In the park, I think there's only a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple, but it's not as user friendly as the My Disney Experience. That one's. I usually have to do like open table or like go to the actual restaurant and book a reservation.
Yeah.
So yeah, for Universal,
But for the Disney, it's all in one app, and
yeah,
you can link your resort. Once you book something, you link your resort. You can link your
Mhm.
tickets. You can make your park reservations. You can book other things other than dining, like Bippity Boppity Boutique or any of the
You have to
Enchanted
book the
Extras.
What?
Sunny
Yeah,
is Sunny
you
is like
do.
a Disney virgin, and you know
I
what?
am. That's what I said. So that's why it's good because I'm here asking the questions that
Yeah.
brand new people like me would ask. By the way, I keep kicking my desk. That's why I keep going. So, anyways, but you have to book the boutique just like
Thank
going and
you.
buy things. You have to book the boutique.
It's a makeover boutique. So it's the fairy
Oh,
godmother. Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
I
the
want to
fairy
go and buy
godmother.
slippers. I have to book a trip to
No.
buy a slipper. Okay.
No, you can go in any store you want whenever you want. But if you want to get you can't get a makeover because you're too old. You have to be under 13. Which I'm guessing you're a little over than 13. So if you want your kid to get a makeover at the Bippity Boppity Boutique
Cool.
by a fairy god person, then you have to book that 60 days in advance too.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
Yes.
it's over. I've been going there since before I was born. When my mom was pregnant, when she
In
was
the
pregnant,
womb.
it was Stacy and Paula who went, and I guess like mom said she had such heartburn from me at Disney. She always remembers that, and I'm like, I was probably kicking you because I wanted to be out there.
Let me out of there.
I
I know, right?
Oh
Funny.
yeah. So
Okay, so we talked about like booking the dining and stuff like that. But let's say, Stephanie, if someone was from England and they're calling you like, "Hey, want to book the trip to Disney?" What is that? How does that? What's the process like?
Well, I actually can't book people from England because
Okay, bad
they're
example, but let's say.
that's okay.
Well,
But if
wait,
somebody
how come
calls
you
me,
can't book people from other? Can you not book people from other countries or just England?
other countries because of the conversion rates, and
Okay,
also they
so
have
that's good to
totally
know.
different deals, and usually people who come here from like England stay for like 2 weeks, and it's a whole huge thing. And a lot of people that live in the United States aren't going to go to Disney for 2 weeks. I'd like to, but most of us aren't going to go that long. So
Right.
they do special promotions for them, and they do other stuff. So they would have to do that with like a travel agent in their own company or in their own country.
Yeah.
But if someone's in this country and wants to book a trip with me, I've posted my information in the group before. They can message me. I usually call them, get a feel for what they're looking for, send them some quotes, figure out what it is that's important to them for when they're there. I can book their transportation to and from the airport if they're not going to rent a vehicle. I can even book them a rental car if they'd like to, book a vehicle. And then, once we do that, I usually go through kind of what they need to do. I usually offer to book their park reservations for them. It's just a lot easier and faster for me to jump on there real quick and just, book them so that they get everything they want and have it all down pat. Yeah, I mean, and I don't cost anything to use. Like if you see a price on the internet and you're about to book it, that's the same price I'm going to quote you. The only difference is that once you book through me, I do all the work. I sit on the phone with Disney. I wake up at 5:45 in the morning to get your dining.
Right.
I am the one who makes sure that you have some tips and tricks. And I do that with all my bookings. Like even if you're not going to like Disney or something, I just had some people that booked just a hotel with me for like Nashville, and I constantly give people information about where they're going and what they can do. But Disney's my favorite because if I can't be there, at least you can, and you can have some fun for me.
Right.
So, it's a fairly easy process. I'm a very easy person to talk to. As you can see, I don't stop. So, it's it's pretty easy for me to talk to people, get to know what they're looking for, and kind of see what they're hoping to get out of this trip. I usually have a lot of people who contact me and say, this is going to be our big one trip, we're not doing this again. It's like, this is the one time we're going to Disney when all the kids are younger. And then I get a call from them like 6 months after they got home, and they're like, so we want to go again next year. And I'm like, yes.
It's like April
It's
and
addictive.
Brian every other weekend. I'm like, didn't you just go last weekend?
I know.
It's a
But
new weekend.
Yeah, right.
you know, we live close, but it's sometimes when you live close, it's like you can't spend all your time at the weekends because you actually have to do stuff like when you're not working. So people are like, don't you go every weekend? I'm like, no, I gotta like do all kinds of stuff. And then there's football games on for
That's
someone
true.
else who wants like, all right, can we leave by this time? I gotta watch my team. I'm like,
Right.
okay.
And that's true because, like, if you come for a vacation, like if Stacy and I come to visit you, and we're like, "Oh, we're going to Disney," we're that's it. We're going to Disney. We don't have anything else we have to do. We don't have to vacuum. We don't have to paint the house. We have to take the dog to the groomer. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's true.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Here, it's like we don't have any time for anything now because I'm like, oh, we got to do this and then this and then this. So
Yeah.
People think that, but John, if he's still listening, and Angie, they go almost every single day. I swear.
Every day.
That's
They
crazy.
go almost every
John and Angie,
day.
if you're in the comments, explain yourselves. I need to know.
I know. I'm like, I mean, no, I can't, especially now with the crowds like that. No, I told him we're going Sunday, and I'm like, okay, we might just go for a couple things, and then we're gonna go to eat lunch, and then we're leaving because it's been packed like 200 and some minutes to wait for Rise of the Resistance. Wait, yep, 75% of the week. John.
Okay, so is that John talking there or Angie?
That's John and Angie. And they're
Okay,
married.
so John and Angie. What do you do there all day? Like, what do you do all day?
They don't go for most of the day, right? They just go for like a couple hours. But yeah, they
I'm going to
live.
see their comments and then I'll read it so people, in case they don't see it. But like, I mean, if there's lots of lines, it feels like you just have to stand. I would not have the patience to stand all day. I wouldn't.
No, but and
What
then
if-
Stephanie,
Well,
you don't do the Genie Plus and all that stuff. They do it when they get there.
that's what I
I
was
can
gonna ask
explain.
you.
I can
Yeah.
explain to people how to use it, and you can no longer book it ahead of time. You have to book it every night at midnight for the next day. So I can't book it for anybody, but I can explain how they can book it and how you can use it. A lot of the times, the people that book with me aren't really interested in Genie Plus until like real close to their trip, and then they start freaking out, and I'm like, don't freak out, it's not a big deal. And I tell them,
What is Genie Plus?
it's they used to have like fast passes, and now if you you can pay for Genie Plus, and you can essentially pick rides where you can skip the lines basically. So they don't have fast passes anymore, so it's kind of like the new fast pass system. So if you don't have to, but if you want to, you can buy that at midnight the night before, anytime up till like whenever you want to go in, and you can start picking your rides. So I explain how to use it. I've used it once. I don't really personally. I guess maybe I'm not there enough that I haven't really like the time I did use it. I didn't feel like it was necessary. But I know some people who really, really enjoy it. So.
No.
Angie, you said, by the way, that people watch, and that John said that, I think, and Angie said that they vlog while they're there. So that's what they do there.
Angie usually just walks with them and smiles.
She does what?
She usually walks with them and smiles and like goes along. That would be like me and Brian. Brian wouldn't be saying anything. I'd be doing all the talking, and he'd just be walking away from me. Like,
I don't know her.
Yeah.
I could totally do that. I could just talk to myself the whole time while I'm there.
Yeah.
I can too, but Brian's like, no. Yeah, so he doesn't. He barely talks. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I have a couple of my questions that I wrote down because, as you can see, I am not the professional. So, like on your like the name of the channel, which we discussed it together today, is Plus Size Theme Park Riders Orlando and more. But we're also going to be talking not just always plus size issues, mostly that. I mean, focusing on that, but other park issues too. But so on that side of it, though, like I was telling April, like a test seat, like I didn't even know what a test seat was, that they had them, what their purpose was, until like long time ago. I had no idea. We went to, it was probably, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago. We went to Universal, and you were like, oh, there's a test seat. I'm like, testing for what? So anyways, explain to the people what a test seat is.
Okay, so mostly it's Universal. They have test seats at Disney, but Disney is more plus size friendly than Universal. I didn't really know this because my ex-husband was like 6'1" and he weighed like 400 pounds. So we never went to Universal. We only went to Disney. So when I started dating Brian, he's like, okay, we're gonna go to Universal, and I'm like, okay, so what is this? So then we started going through the line, and the lady's like, when we started going through a Forbidden Journey ride, when we were walking towards the end, and they say how many, the lady said, I said 2, and she said, sit on the outer part of the seat. It'll be more comfortable for you. And I'm like, first of all, I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
What did she say? And then I thought, she just called me fat. I'm like, she just said I was like too fat for the ride. And I looked around and I'm like, okay, they're mostly skinny people, but I was like, mother.
Yeah, I know. I know the feeling.
But I'm like, okay, lady, thanks a lot. And then she wasn't thin herself, so that's probably why she knew. And I was like, wait a second.
Maybe.
I said to him, I said, what are all these things? Because when we walked in, I saw a test seat, and I'm thinking, okay, so I guess some people have to. And I was like, well, I guess I'm one of them. So that's when I actually started the group. So in the Universal Studios side, there is Forbidden Journey. I'll probably forget all these. Rip Ride Rocket. My mind's going blank.
Hulk. Is there a
Yeah,
Hulk tester seat? Yeah.
That's oh gosh, a Jimmy Fallon. Thank you. And then the Mummy. I think that's it. I think I said all 4 of them.
Do you have all these listed in on your group, or are they? Yeah, we'll put something here on. There's a place where you can make posts on here too, and we'll put those things on here too.
Okay. Yeah. There's Green Gots. Thank you. Green Gots. Ugh. But anyway, Green Gots to me is like, it's like a torture device. When you go on there, it's like you have to be literally like locked in. Thank you. Yes. Forbidden Journey is on Islands of Adventure side, but for the studio side, yeah, it's Green Gots, it's the Mummy, Jimmy Fallon, and then Rip Ride Rocket, which I've never been on, and I don't want to go on it. So.
Really? How come?
I'm not a roller coaster person.
Oh, see, I am when I don't have a collapsed lung. Because that one ride that we were on, I swear, it's like, because my lung was already going down. Long story, I'll tell on the end of the day, but my lung was already going down. But we got on some ride that, it just slammed the hell out of my back to the thing. And I remember going, oh, what was that?
I don't know what ride was that.
I was thinking that earlier today. I don't know what ride it was, and I don't think it was it wasn't the whatever the Star Wars or whatever the star thing, whatever that we were. It was one that it's like you loaded into like, it seemed like a big squarish platform, and there was like 8 or 10 people on it, and you had like 4 people maybe per row, but it was like just a big square box that would like go up and then it'd go
Tower of Terror.
And it was just kind of one of those things that,
huh?
That's my favorite ride.
Well, I did close my eyes on that one because I knew I was going to get sick, but there's just one part of it that just like, bam, I feel like it's like, did we just get dropped from a 10-story building or what? But hurt like hell. And I was like, and that's why I tell Stacey, there are roller coasters that I like my favorite roller coaster. It's probably burned down 20 years ago now, but it was at in California at Magic Mountain. Yeah, Magic Mountain. And it's an old wooden roller coaster, but it has big, huge drops and stuff like that. But it's not the kind that are like, these days that with all the mechanics, it's like just a straight up roller coaster. But those ones that go like a gazillion miles an hour and you're like pinned back here, oh, you got 85,000 G's, that's like, who the hell wants to sit there and go to the whole time? No, not me. No, I don't. I want to enjoy the ride. You literally can't breathe on some of them. They're going so fast. It's like the wind in your face.
When I went with, I don't know if Mary's still in here, but we went to Islands of Adventure, Universal. We went on Hagrid's, and I'd never been on Hagrid's before, and I kept asking him, I'm like, what is this ride like? Am I going to be scared? Because I am a chicken. I fully admit it. I am not a roller coaster person. I will take Small World or whatever. So they're like, well, Stephanie likes all that stuff. Stephanie likes the fast rides. But and they're like, okay, you'll sit, because you sit on a motorcycle, right? And then the other person sits in the sidecar. So I sat on the motorcycle part, and I think it's probably why I felt like I was more exposed. Because you like take off and you're like going fast, and then
I would want to do that one, especially if it's like a motorcycle.
Yeah, but it goes in reverse. Okay, I won't give you.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
The reverse wasn't that bad because I get used to it when I go to Expedition Everest at Animal Kingdom. That one always scares the hell out of me anyway. But and then towards the end of it, there's a certain part which I won't say that I never knew about, where basically that was it. I hyperventilated. I started to
It's like game over.
she's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, and then we had to wear the mask, so I had to take the mask down. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And so like the people come up to me at the end of the ride and like, "Are you all right, miss?" I'm like, crying, bawling my eyes out because I thought I was
Call
gonna.
911.
And I was like, but it was the worst experience. And then some lady from the group saw me, and she told me later, she's like, "I thought that was you crying at the end." And I was like, that's great.
That's me crying.
That's me.
Crying.
What about a mask? Was this something that just pops out of the ride when you're in distress, or what the hell?
You had to wear a mask on the ride because of COVID. So, yeah.
I thought you were talking like an oxygen mask. Like, this woman is distressed.
Like a plane.
Put over the oxygen
Pop
mask.
down.
She's really going down.
You would have thought I
know that.
it, but
I thought when you said mask, it's like,
mask off. She's like, "Pull your mask off." I'm like, I've never in my life had that reaction, except for when we went on the one at Epcot, Mission to Space.
Nobody should ever ride that.
I thought I was dying. This one next, the husband is next to me, like, woo! I'm like, woo! It was horrible. I was like, I'm gonna die on this ride at Disney.
I don't either. It feels like your brain is jostling in your skull. It's like,
no. Okay, so back to test seats. Anyway, so a test seat is to see whether you can fit on the ride or not. So most people, when they go to Universal, don't realize it's not plus size friendly.
Right, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you don't know until you're like, oh, okay, so I can't fit. So that's what happened. So the first time I went, Forbidden Journey, and that's why they were like, okay, sit on the outside seat. So there are special rows or special seats that you can fit on to. They're not made for plus size people. They're actually for taller people. So, but it fits most plus size people.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah,
really. So even though it's a test seat, it's really to test for taller people and not plus size people. Oh,
well,
wow.
It's supposed to be, but they actually made it for that. They made it for taller people. So, but it helps plus size people too. So, but
right.
So yeah, so they have the test seat, and then at Islands of Adventure, John, help me out if you're still here if I forget. They have the Hulk, they have Doctor Doom, which I've never been on. I've never been on the Hulk either. So they have Hagrid's. They have
Hagrid. Isn't that the one that's everybody always asking in your group? Hey, I was. They were saying they're bummed out because they didn't fit on whatever. Isn't that the one?
There's there's different ones. Velocicoaster. A lot of people don't fit on that. It's honestly, it depends where your weight is on your body. Like most of the weight is on my chin, but
yeah, same.
That's what I see. I'm like, whew. Velocicoaster.
Well, I was gonna say, like at one of those rides that you and I went on a bazillion years ago at Universal, we got in the same car or whatever, and we're probably about the same weight back then. I don't know what we are now, but we're probably about the same weight. You didn't know this, but I noticed it because that's the first time you said you thought that lady was like, oh, she calling me fat or whatever. Because I remember getting in that car with you and you sit down and you put the lap bar down, no problem. And I'm struggling. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, we're about the same size. Like, why am I not getting it down? And then the lady came along and she's like, and she's telling me like to scoot down and do this and do that. I'm like, oh, great. She's like, oh, let me help the fat one out. And so, she came over and I ended up fitting in it, but that was like a good example how everybody is, you might both weigh, 100 pounds or 500 pounds, but depending on where you carry your weight, it's going to be different when you're sitting in the test seat or the ride or wherever.
What ride was that? What ride did we go on?
I can't remember. It was at Universal, but it was like a roller coaster type one. It was more of a traditional type one. It wasn't one of the crazy super fast ones. It ended up being really fun, but that's what I remember. I don't remember the ride. And I do remember there being a test seat out there, but I didn't know what it was for. I remember when we walked out, I saw it sitting there. I was like, oh, test seat.
It was the Mummy. I think we went on the Mummy because I haven't been on that very much. And I think I went with you and Stacy because I haven't been on that ride in forever.
Huh. Yeah.
All right. What else am I missing for test seats, Stephanie?
Let me see. Well, I asked what are the test seats. You kind of, what is the test seat? The same as what is. And do all rides have them? You answered that. You said no. So what determines if some has, do you know, if you know, what has a test seat and what doesn't?
Mostly the roller coasters, just because of safety reasons. But like I said, like Velocicoaster, the Hulk, Hagrid's, Forbidden Journey, all of those. What else? John. I'm trying to think of all the ones because I don't go on those. So
Doctor Doom, or you said Doctor Doom.
yeah, Doctor Doom, which it's like Rise and Fall, and then what else am I missing? I can't think of the other one, but they don't. Like if you go on Transformers is it's a lap bar. Like you'll pull it down or you pull it up. So
they don't care if you fly out of that one.
No, but it's not as bad. But yeah, I think that's it, John. The freaking one at Gringotts. I mean, at first, Stephanie, have you ever been on any of these Gringotts? No.
No, I've been on like Hulk and stuff, but I haven't.
Gringotts. So it's kind of like, I'm thinking think of the ride because now I've lost everything. But it's kind of like at first you get like kind of like you're sitting like up on the side, and then all of a sudden you just get dropped, and then starts the ride. But it's not. You would think you're being like dropped from like 60 stories with this thing, and you're like sucked in. Your knees have like no room to go because barely you can move your. It's just like a torture device, and I'm like, why do you need it for this stupid ride? It's just
maybe they did it because they want you to fly out. They're like, if you pack them in, they're super tight.
But still, it's like I'm not gonna fly out of any other ride, so I don't understand. Like sometimes, and a lot of the rides come from Europe, so it's like they're
so skinny sizing,
So that's what they have to understand too. It's like they don't build them yourself.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, you order something off Amazon, it says European sizing. Okay, I need 14 sizes larger than my normal size.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I get that.
So.
Let me see. Go ahead.
We have it all listed in the file part, and we also do a ride with me form.
What is that?
It's basically it's basically a list of your measurements. Like it'll say your height, weight, of course, like you weigh your measurements, and then it'll say what ride you fit on. If you did the test seat, if you needed help, like if they pushed it down for you or stuff like that. Angie said, I think because of the drop to protect your knees. That is probably it. But seriously, if you have knee problems on that ride, just avoid it. Anyway. Yeah, so the ride with me form just basically says like what ride they could fit on, and then if you measure up like the same thing to the person, then that's what they recommend. So, but
and you on your website, on your Facebook group, which like I said, we'll get those posted here too. But do you have that for like all the popular rides or for all the rides that have test seats or
every ride, and they just go over the ones that if they didn't ride it, if they did ride it, did they need an extra push? Did they do the test seat, like all that stuff? So.
When you say extra push, you mean by like whoever, like a ride person or something?
This is the a lot of times they're not supposed to push down on the ride for you. But some people do. It's not a universal thing. They're not supposed to. It's safety reasons. So if someone pushes down a little bit extra, like that happened to me on Gringotts. She's like, can you push it in a little bit more? And I'm like, I think so. It's hard to push that bar. So she pushed it a tiny bit and then it was fine. But if you're not supposed to do that, because if anything happens, like say you're on a ride and your stomach is just like hanging there, you could like hurt yourself if the ride stops suddenly or something like that. That's why they do it. A lot of people don't understand it, and I get it, but it's a lot of it is for safety reasons because they don't want you to get hurt. Brian broke his ribs on the Mummy because I guess
For real?
Yes. Yeah.
Holy crap.
The bar came up like right under his rib cage, and at the end, I guess they stopped hard, and he's broke his two ribs. They had to like call the ambulance and everything. Not with me, but he had to because of that. And then I said, well, was it really tight? And he's like, I don't think necessarily, but you could like do some damage in there. So, but people, they try all kinds of ways just to fit on the rides.
So like if they don't push on it and your ride form says, oh, give a little push or whatever, like if you're riding with somebody, are they already pinned in at that point and they can't help you push? Or
they're not supposed to, but I mean, sometimes they do. Like, I've never had anybody push down on a ride for me, but a person.
I mean, like if Brian's sitting next to you and you needed a push, would he be able to do that?
If they don't see it, but they don't like.
Yeah. I'm just thinking because some of them, like you said, are so restrictive once you get in there. Like you feel like you can't move your arms. You couldn't, pick your nose, let alone push somebody else's bar down,
You're like a T-Rex. Like, here's my hands.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Jonathan. Jonathan's in here. Jonathan and John are part of our admin team. My admin team. A bug just flew by. Along with Stephanie.
Is that Bronco Family Adventures? Is
yes.
That who just come in?
So.
Okay, so I had some more testy questions. Asked if both parks had them. I think you said both. Do both of them, Universal and Disney, have test seats?
For some rides, yeah.
But Disney is more like plus size friendly than Universal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they have a couple. They have for Disney, they have
Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage, which I never even knew there was one because I never saw it. It's off to the side. I'm like, oh, that would have been perfect because that was the first ride that I ever really was like, oh, people are starting to talk about how it's not plus size friendly. That was the first one I've heard of was Flight of Passage because Rock and Roller Coaster and Space Mountain and all that. Yeah, mostly fit. So
that was one of my questions I have on here too. Is how do you know if the ride has a test seat and where do you find them? If do you just walk up and you're like, oh crap, where's it at?
Well, me and Stephanie were talking about this last night because I asked her. I said, where is the test seat for Rock and Roller Coaster?
I've never seen it.
No, because I looked it up online because I've never seen it. I don't go on that ride. I've been like twice and that's it.
But the weird thing, but I do go on that ride every single time I'm there, multiple times, and I've never seen it.
But I showed her a picture of it, and she's like, "What is that in a closet?"
It did. It looked like it was in a janitor's closet.
But I've seen on the ride to see if you fit, but I'm like, it didn't say where it was. So if any of you guys like John or Jonathan know where it is, let me know.
Yeah, John and Angie, when you're in the park tomorrow.
Yeah. I know.
Take a picture.
If you're out there, Angie, get a picture of the test seats because I don't want to do it when I come Sunday.
I see that's another thing. As I don't remember, it was when we were at Universal. I guess it was
in the back.
Anyways, I was waiting for you guys to come off a ride or something, and I saw a test seat someplace, and it was, and like I said, I don't remember which park were we just at again?
Hollywood Studios.
Okay, and I saw one. I was waiting for you guys to come back or something, and it was way off to the side. And I was like, and now that we had this, and I've been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks, like I would have never known it was there. Like I think there's like an advantage to them being in a discreet place because nobody wants to sit down at a test seat in front of a line of like 300 people and like, oh wow, I didn't fit, because that's embarrassing, right? No matter how cool you are with yourself, it's still embarrassing that people are watching you. But they should be like in a discreet spot, but not so discreet that you can't find them.
Yeah, because I think it's hard because either you can't find them at all, or there's a bunch of kids playing on them and a bunch of people standing right there watching you, and no one wants to do it while people is watching them.
Right.
But if they're hidden too well, then no one knows they exist. Like I've been on Rock and Roller Coaster so many times, and I have never seen a test seat for. I'm not saying there's not. Obviously, there is somewhere. And Flight of Passage, I didn't know about until January. So. And that was just by accident. Like I was like, oh, there's a test seat.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it seems like
which is weird because
say the test seats are, and then kind of have it, someplace somewhat discreet, so you see that. Oh, okay, I have one, but it's not.
I live in Ohio, and Cedar Point is my park. Like it's like an hour, and they've had test seats there since I was younger. Like so, they're not new to me. Like they have them because their coasters, their seats are. If you're over a size 16 or 18, you're not fitting on any of their coasters.
Oh, really? Even now today?
Oh yeah. Wow. No, I mean most of the seats, like especially if it's a bigger coaster, like Top Thrill Dragster. Not that it's there anymore, but a lot of those are like definitely nowhere near plus friendly, and they all have seats outside. But they're literally in line, like right at the front of the line. So it's everyone's walking past you. So every time that when I was younger and I wanted to go on a ride, I would be too scared. I'd rather not fit and have to jump off the ride than have 40 people walk past me while I'm trying to sit down in the tester seat.
Sure.
So
because nobody, you're there. I mean,
everyone's getting in
have
their
to jump off. At least people can think, oh, I changed my mind. You know,
yeah,
whatever.
everyone's getting in the seats. They're buckling themselves in. They're making sure they're not going to fly out. Like no one's paying attention to you. You know, like that's what I tell people about Flight of Passage. Like just try it. Like go, like even if the tester seat doesn't, like if you don't want to do it or you don't think you fit in the tester seat, like still go in there and try it because it's dark and no one's paying attention. I'm a very like I pay attention to other people. I'm nosy. But even me, like I've gone into Flight of Passage where a full group of us have gone in and the lights come back on and we're done, and there's 2 people that never were in their seats. So they must have either for whatever reason walked off or didn't fit or weren't comfortable or whatever. And I never noticed it, and I like am very observant. So, you know, I tell people to try.
That's what they say for the test seats too. If you're close, try the ride. But for I think it was Forbidden Journey or Green Guts, I don't remember. But Brian, the team member at Universal, pulled him aside and say, you know, can you try this test seat? I mean, he's got a bit of a beer belly, so I was like, they pulled him. He's like he's skinny, but he has a stomach. So they pulled him and they said, you know, can you try this? And then he tried it and he's like, you know, I fit. So I was very surprised. So you never know. Sometimes you'll get pulled to see if you fit too. So that's why I think like a lot of it too is like more people are scared of the Universal rides for that. Like I don't think they pull you at Disney because I don't think I've heard that. I mean, honestly.
No, I've never.
So that's a question, I think. Oh, I did have that on here. So what happens if you don't fit? Like, are they pretty discreet and good about saying, hey, yeah, sorry, you didn't fit on, or just like, hey, hit the road, lady? Or how do they, what happens?
You get
depends on how much training they've had.
Yeah, exactly. If you get like a person that's not very nice, you're gonna get a very nice, like, I'm sorry, you have to, like, you know, because you have to get on these rides like quick too. Like Hagrid, you gotta jump on that sucker and get in there because there's a conveyor belt that you have to hurry. Like Forbidden Journey, you have to get on this thing and push that thing down fast because if you don't, they don't usually. It's a hard time like stopping the ride. So that's when they'll be like, okay, you got to get off. Like I've seen it happen many times where guys would try and fit and they couldn't, so they're like, I'm sorry, you can't ride the car. Get off. I think a lot of times, you know, it's a very hurtful thing. Like I'm saying, like I can't, like it would kill me. But
I think even the nicest way to say it is going to hurt half the people who hear it. It's because it's just not fun to hear. So I think that you're upset. You're like immediately upset. You know what's happening, and then they're like, "Hey, you can't ride this," and like you think about it later, and you're like, "That was so mean." But like they perhaps weren't being mean; they were just being very like flat out, like you know. So I think it just depends.
Yeah, John said that they pull you out of the. I've seen it happen many times, and I was surprised, honestly, because I have a stomach, but I was surprised like they would pull, they just pulled him, and I was like, oh wow. So they honestly,
and that's the thing too. Is like men, especially, you know, they have completely different stomachs than women. Like usually they could have a stomach like, you know, out to here, but they have a tiny little waist, so somehow they can still get that in, like on an airplane. You know, they have no problem getting the seatbelt on, but then you see women that can't do it.
Yeah,
that's because they don't have hips and butt attached to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Andrew said. I wish they were more sensitive to that. So I know that they are supposed to be very sensitive. That, you know, Universal can't train every single person to be exactly how they should. I mean, people, they just sometimes have a bad day and they could be like kind of crappy. So if anything like that happens, usually it's like if you want to go to customer service and just say, you know, or you can even call them or talk online or something like that. But I know a lot of times they don't mean it. They just have been dealing with people. And I'm not saying that's right, but it's like, you know, can you be a little nicer on that subject?
Yeah, I know. It's like already Is
that where the Rock and Roller Coaster one is in the back?
I was just going to ask Angie if she's still here. I just saw that comment in the back. You have to ask a cast member to
Because
access
it's in the janitor closet.
And that's for which ride
I was
again?
so right.
You were.
It's in
For
the
which
janitor
ride, though?
closet.
Remember, it's probably like where they're taking a break or something, and they're like, "Oh,
They're
here,
like,
they want
hold on, let me go get the wife and kids out of it because they've been playing in it for an hour.
Right. Yeah. My lunch.
So yeah, I wait. John said he was going to Epcot and Universal tomorrow. So if I have, I don't want to go. Wait, tomorrow's Friday. So John, where are you going Saturday? And if you can go Sunday, let us know.
But yeah, that would be
Up 5 flight of stairs. No, it's not.
What are you talking about? Oh, the
roof.
The test seat.
Flight of Passage feels like sometimes they take you up flight of stairs. They're like, come on now. Like
I
you've been walking through the whole thing and then they're like, come on, let's go up here. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like I did not sign up for all these steps.
Right.
If someone pulled me off and they were rude, I would just be upset and leave, and I'd be mad for the next week. And I probably wouldn't say anything to like a supervisor. But if I saw them do it to somebody else, then I'd be like, all right, I gotta tell you and I would definitely do it if I thought somebody else.
I have no problem sticking up for myself if someone's nasty. But I'm not rude. I just get really firm, and I just like, like that wasn't necessary. There's different ways to talk to people, and I'll walk away after that. I just need to say something.
But it's like it goes back to that. They have to be more sensitive, especially to plus size people. I mean, we're hard on ourselves already, so it's like
exactly.
I can imagine just someone like the Forbidden Journey lady. That's how I started this group, because I was like, "Bitch, sorry, I know we're all." But
no, it's fine.
I'm like, seriously, like you just called me fat. I'm like, thanks a lot. So
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, if someone,
Appreciate it.
I know, I'm like, if I didn't fit, I would be like, I'm never coming back to this place again.
Yeah, I know, right? That's depressing.
And a lot of the way we get followers is because people on TikTok will go to Universal and they don't know it's not plus size friendly, and they'll film it, and then all of a sudden we start to get requests from like people, and they'll say TikTok, because most people don't know, and you'd be surprised. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And that is the worst way to find out too, is that you don't fit, is just getting on there and finding out. Because like even when that happened to me, and I told you when we were sitting on there, man, I eventually ended up fitting. But I remember I didn't want to ride any roller coaster. I didn't even want to try any rides.
Makes you nervous for the rest of the day.
Like I might not fit. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So I'm like, I'm not going through that again. Nobody saw. I don't. You probably didn't even notice, obviously. But I was just like, no, I'm not doing that again.
No. And I'm surprised, because I don't remember I think it had to be in the Mummy, because I don't remember that. But yeah.
I just remember the line being super ass long. Super long.
Yeah. Was that for Halloween Horror Nights?
That was what?
Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the first time we went, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Mummy then. Because I think that's the last time I went on there besides Parade. So, no.
Yeah. Let me see what other questions we got here. Most of my stuff.
I think most of them are from people we know.
What?
You mean questions like in the group?
Oh, no questions that I had, like just since I've seen you guys talk about, and then some of the questions I see people talk about in the group. So I see people talking about clothes all the time. Oh, should I wear this type of pants or these types of shorts? Or, I mean, does fabric really make that much difference?
No, I mean,
okay.
If you're wearing compression leggings and like you're wearing a girdle and you're wearing like maybe, but who's gonna wear that to walk around Florida?
That's what I keep thinking. Like, God.
I mean, I personally won't. I wear like leggings I wear like the Old Navy active leggings, which are slightly compressive, but like I just wear those all the time. But like it makes it, to me, it just, I would rather wear something that fits and doesn't, like, I'm not going to wear super bulky cargo capri, because those will hinder you from fitting in like the seats or like, your hips or your thighs or something. But at the same time, it's like what you wear. I would rather be comfortable than be squished.
Right. Yeah, I was curious. I was like, really, does that thin of fabric make that much difference of getting yourself in or out of seat?
Sometimes it does. That's why people do. I see it all the time. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a person who can wear that, especially. That's John said, don't hate on my girdle, Stephanie.
Sorry.
girdle. I wear a girdle if I wear a dress, but I'm
The
a
I'm not
secret's
wearing
out.
no Spanx. I'm not wearing Spanx to
I'm not-
Universal, all right?
I can barely breathe on that thing.
Exactly. I
Imagine.
wear those to a wedding, and after 3
Yeah.
hours, I gotta go home.
Yeah, I can't even stand to wear a belt. Serious. I got a problem. I can't stand anything restrictive at all. I'm like, ugh, no.
I don't like something that like hurting my stomach. I got enough stomach problems. I don't need to be squeezed in on
Right.
us, but a lot of people do it and they swear by it. And I'm like, that's great for you. But I'm
Yeah,
110 degree. I'm not wearing something that's like so skin tight on me.
Yeah,
Right.
no way. I thought skin tight stuff that kind of, I mean, because obviously I don't wear those clothes. April knows that. But if you were wearing those like legging things, I thought that was supposed to be cool, like supposed to make you cool. No, makes you hotter.
until you're sweating so much that it's not, and then it's just a swamp.
Yeah.
No, then it's like a scuba diver suit, hot
Yeah,
wetsuit.
pretty much.
Yeah, you start smelling, and trust me, you don't want to be smelling when you're like standing next to people. Yeah, so you know.
We said we'd be here an hour, which is like 5 minutes, but we think we started 5 minutes ish late. But
Yeah.
does anybody have? Well, we only got about 5-ish people here. I mean, that's 5 more than I thought we would for now.
It says 7 people, so
Right?
yeah.
Some people might. The thing is people watch it on replay, which you just can't go back to their questions. I mean, you can, but who's going to go back and how are you going to answer them? But anyways, is there anything you guys had questions, things you want to bring up, topics? What's the big thing in the group that you guys see asked a lot? Like some of the most common things.
What will I fit on? They'll say like their height, weight, and then what will I fit on? And that is, I don't know. It's honestly it's not your height and your weight. It is where like if it's in your arms, I mean that's not. But like if it's your chest, the over the head harnesses won't pull down because you can't go chest. So you have to make sure. There's a lot of stuff. Like it's not your height and your weight because it's like
I don't think
you know,
because I don't think that any two people are like the same. So I can say I wear a size 18 or 20, and some says they wear the exact same thing, and we don't fit on the same things. So like that's the one that I see a lot is like I'm a size 20. What am I going to fit in? I don't know. Like what kind of size 20 are you? Like are you tall? Are you like I don't really know. Like it depends on how you hold everything, and honestly it also depends on like are you squishy or are you more solid? I don't know how your body is.
I think that
like
April wrote, go ahead.
Solid as a rock. Like I have literally when I sit, there's no rolls. I don't have rolls. I just have a solid stomach. So I can't pull the bar like like if I have people have rolls, they can do that. That's another thing. Are you squishy or is your stomach hard? Because then you do that, and I can't. Like if I say it in, I'm like.
You will relate to this as matters football. They'll talk about oh, there's so and so. He is 6'2" and he's 180 pounds, and you'll be like, well, I'm 180 pounds, but why do I feel like super fat? This guy's really fit looking. That's a perfect example of.
That's
it. All comes in a different package.
Exactly. You could have really skinny legs and have a big stomach. I mean, you could have. Yeah, it's just crazy. So I don't know, but.
I forgot about the harness thing though, because I remember seeing women like that pull it down. It's like they may be a really small waist and not fake ones, but just naturally, and boom, it's like it stops right here, and you're like, and they can't even see it. They can barely see their face. That can be safe, but
no, that's not.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
And then there's tall people, really tall people that can't fit on the rides either because the over the head harness, their shoulders are too high. So it's not just plus size people.
Yeah, I'm only I'm 5'11" in some of those over the shoulder ones, like push down on me, and that's not even tall. That's not in my brain. That's not even tall. I mean, like.
Yeah, that would never. I'm 5'5", so I can't relate to that.
Like 5'1" on a good day if I have a higher shoe. Yeah, you are.
So for tall people, is that their only thing? Is just the harness, or does it? Your
knees hitting. Sometimes if it's a certain ride vehicle, your knees hitting, like when you sit, or bars that come down. Because sometimes like your legs are just up higher when you sit and like your legs are bent. And I have like long legs. Like I joke around with my sister all the time because my sister's 5'8", but like her legs, she can sit in like the hallway and her legs don't hit the other side of the wall because her
Yeah.
legs are very short. She's not short, she's 5'8", but her legs are so tiny. I always tell her that she was like meant to be a little person or something because her legs are just so
I
tiny.
bet
So
you love
like
that.
me, when like, you know, I have very long legs, like even at Disney and the boat rides, I always try to get the front because my knees will just graze all day on those boats, and like it starts to irritate my knees.
Mhm.
Doesn't necessarily hurt, but you know, it starts to irritate you or whatever. So I think that sometimes tall people have that, you know, problem. Like Splash Mountain, my knees hit the front of the boat, even though like I
Mhm.
fit. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, I have to cross my ankles because if I don't cross my ankles, the way my like it makes my legs go lower, and then the bar feels like it's not so restrictive, even though that bar digs into my thighs anyway,
Right.
because it was made for, you know, someone who's this wide. I don't like not but I'm not that wide, so I don't know how to make myself
You're
in the picture, but
the height of person I'm standing at Target. Like, could you get me those paper towels up there, please? I'm waiting for someone to walk by because I can't reach them. I'm like, ugh.
I
so
know.
I mean,
And then some things at the parks, it's hard to get out of. Like if you get out of like Space Mountain, like getting in there, okay, fine, but getting out, it's like you give birth. Like the ride
You
is
mean
giving
getting out
birth.
of the ride
I
itself?
just
Yeah,
flop out and roll. I'm
yeah.
not even kidding. Like, you should
That's
see me get out. I have no shame. I know that no one gets out of there gracefully. There's no like I want them to like show Josh Shamaro or something riding that, because like
yeah.
even he would not get out of it gracefully.
It's
Like
crazy.
so
Why
me,
is it hard to get out of?
it's
It's
very low to the ground and your feet are like under, like they're kind of
Hmm.
like under a bar, so it's you got to like shimmy, and like if your legs are long like mine, I just kind of flop out. It was
Okay.
funny because when we were in Disney in 2019, my sister's mother-in-law had her legs outside the vehicle, and the guy was like, ma'am, you're gonna have to tuck those in. And she was like looking around at her body, like, tuck what in? And he's like, your legs. And
oh,
she's like, oh. And she's like, well, that's not comfortable. And he's like, oh, they have to be inside the ride to go. And she was like, oh, okay. It's just awkward to get out. Then like you
you
just kind
just
of pull yourself out and just whatever. I always end up almost falling or flopping around, and I'm like, whatever.
I
yeah.
feel like I rode that once a million years ago, like at Disneyland, because that's been around a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in California. But all I remember is just a bunch of dark. That was it. Like you're
That's it.
sitting in the
That is.
dark and it's
That
over.
is pretty much the ride.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, so I didn't miss a lot.
No, no,
No.
that one always gives me a headache, and I always feel like I'm gonna get my head taken off by like one of the, because it's you. I feel like there's like this close, and then my head's gonna, get
Not
captured.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's the there's the one that this has nothing, but you said getting your head taken off because it made me think about wanting to take somebody's head off, but like not on a ride. But we were at the last park we were at, and it was the new one. What are the stormtrooper things? Like, I don't know anything about this.
Rise of the Resistance.
You're froze a little bit, right? What?
Rise of the Resistance.
Maybe. Yeah, it was like a fairly new ride. I think it kept breaking down. Remember, we
Rise.
kept
Rise.
So I did not know this because I don't watch any of the movies, never been on the ride before, anything like that. And April might remember this. I don't know if she knew. Maybe I was playing it off. I don't know. But we get to the line, and it's like, and when we're in the line the whole time, there was a lot. Oh, we're sorry, the ride is shut down for 20 minutes. But we'd stay. But finally, we get to the front, and we're inside now, where it's air conditioned and stuff. And we're to this one area, which where they split you off, and some of you go over here, and some of you go over there, and blah blah blah. Right? Well, I happen to be like right in the front of me and April and Brian and Stacy, and Stacy and I were like, we were arguing about something. I don't know what it was, but I was like really cranky. I was really mad, and she was like kind of mad too, or whatever. So I was like standing here like this, and I'm like trying to ignore her and trying to ignore everybody because I was like so mad. And I guess this stormtrooper guy, his job is to be like, don't come over the line. And he said that to me because I didn't know, whatever. And I was so pissed. And I was like, and I was just about ready to be like, I'm going to jump in this guy's shit so hard. I was so mad. I was going to be like, you know what? That's not very friendly. I thought you're supposed to be friendly here. Blah, 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 blah. I didn't say a word. I just like, And I told Stacy later, I'm like, you know, that guy really pissed me off. She's like, why? And I told her, she's like, that's what they're supposed to do. I said, this. She's like, those people are supposed to be mean and grouchy or whatever. I'm like, oh, I didn't know.
Maybe
I said,
you were
"Oh,
on the
I'm
wrong
really glad I
side.
didn't say anything." So please.
Yeah, and the one person we were with was a real, you know, I don't remember if it was a man or woman, but they were kind of nasty. So yeah,
It was a guy. He was like probably around 20-ish or something. But like Stacy said, they were supposed to be like that. Maybe she's just saying that so I didn't be mad. But I was mad. I was like,
no,
that's so rude.
I remember that fight.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
know
can't remember what it was about. Even I don't remember. But
because the line stopped again. It was right towards the end, and we had to all back up to go into where the stormtroopers were. And she was mad because you wanted to stay there. It was a dumb thing, but I'm like, wow, I guess everyone argues at Disney. But yeah, that ride broke down like 5 times.
It did a whole bunch. But at that point, we were committed. Like, we've already stayed here for a freaking week and a half in this line. Like, we're not getting out. No, we will die in this line.
Like 3 hours. I know.
You're riding this ride.
You're riding. I don't care what happens. We're riding.
We are.
And that's what we do.
I think we're like at an hour. Does anybody have anything else? We wrap it up.
I think that's about it now.
Okay, well, anybody that might watch this on replay or the comments, leave messages in the group or wherever, April, however you want to do it. And then so we'll have some focal point next time when we come on and talk about things other than test seats. We were just kind of all over the map this time, but that's because we weren't sure what people would want to know. But let us know. And I guess that's it, right, guys?
Yep, that's all.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.